Many thanks to the organizers for inviting me here to this very important first conference or symposium to talk about a project that I've been the manager of for the last 2.5 years. I'm going to say a few words about OECD. I'm sure everybody here knows what that is. I'm sure you have been looking at our documents. OECD is about 2,500 people, and 20 years ago or so, the Secretary General decided that he needed some people to look what is going to happen in the future, to look over the horizon, so to say. And then he put down a foresight group. This group has evolved, and today we are moved into what we call DSTI, Director for Science, Technology and Industry, but last year the industry was replaced with the word innovation. And in that we have a group called the International Futures Program. At the moment, the program consists of 2 projects, oceans and space. I would speak a little bit about the project, the way we have developed during this good 2 years, and then give you a few insights from the project. Global challenges. As you know, humanity are facing increasing global challenges. Warming, increased population, lack of energy, lack of water, lack of food, and some say also lack of minerals. We believe that we cannot address those challenges properly without the oceans. But then, when we address the oceans, we should not be squeezing the lemon out of the ocean. We should try to harvest the best of the ocean. And one example on that is to fish the right fish, meaning that we should fish the fish that it is economically to fish. I'm told by people at the Marine Institute in Bergen that if we fish the small fish instead of the big fish, we could harvest maybe 3, 4, 5 times as much fish as we do now. So, for a technology optimist as myself, I regard that as we need more technology to fish the right fish. This is sort of a background on the way we have been thinking in this project. The long-term challenges, I'm sure you know them as well as I, regarding population growth, rising energy demand, CO2, climate change. But since we are talking about OECD, and most of you economists, maybe this is of more interest. In 2012, the world GDP growth was 3.6%. We expect that to slow down towards 2060, 1.6%. Another notable thing is that in 2012, China was the largest economy, close to 50%. That will be reduced to about 12%, and India is taking over the role as the leading growing country, and etc., etc. The main point, the way we see it, is that these challenges, they are also the drivers. They are the drivers of the future demand of ocean-based goods and services. For example, drivers is giving opportunity. I call it liquid wind and waterfall LNG, hydrogen. What if we, in the north of Europe, for example in my own home country, Norway, use our ample hydroelectric power to split water into oxygen and hydrogen, then put it on drone ships through the northern sea route to China, to Japan, or to Korea. We could even use gas, natural gas, and pump the residues back into the reservoirs. This is some opportunity that are opening up because the northern sea route is opening up. Certainly there are uncertainties regarding this and other developments. There may be new energy sources, there may be new disruptive technology, there may be new geopolitical shift. The slowdown economically, the growth worldwide could take longer. the Arctic route could open sooner and faster than expected. Offshore environmental disasters could happen, etc., etc. So for us, this is a question of balance. The oceans are already under stress. Pollution from human activity, growing populations in the coastline, overexploitation of some fish stocks, declining biodiversity, rising sea levels, rising level of acidity, etc., etc. The challenge is how to develop the ocean's potential without adding significantly to already existing pressures. Rather, diminishing already existing pressures should be some of the goal. So the main aim of the project is to create a coherent forward assessment of the growth potential regarding innovation, economic growth, and employment. Certainly there are risks associated with such future developments. We have not a clear idea of what are the required progress or breakthroughs in science and technology, what kind of investments are needed, future skill requirement, which environmental ecosystem impacts may have of the new industries in the ocean, growing interdependency among the ocean actors and users, consequences for ocean management, planning and regulation, and certainly policy options. So the goals of the project has been to heighten the international visibility of the maritime economy, address opportunity for sustainable jobs in jobs, innovation and maritime economy, pay a particular attention to emerging maritime activities through 9 to 10 in-depth workshops. We cannot look at all industrial activities in the oceans. Therefore, we have decided to focus on the emerging industrial activities, such as, for example, aquaculture, seabed mining, energy production from wind, waves, osmosis, and so on. Constructing of a number of quantitative scenarios to 2030-2050 for the ocean economy, sector by sector, and that will be valuing the oceans. Consider also, during this process, the impact for future growth of maritime activities on the environment and on coastal communities, and address which role would be there for public policy. As you know, OECD is an organization giving advice to governments in its member countries, 36 members. I had a steering group with the people from all over the world sitting. They met 5-6 times during the project. Now, economic growth. What is the value of the oceans, the seas? Aquaculture, ocean tourism, in the Arctic. All of these are very complex and difficult questions to answer. But sometimes we are able to make an answer. For example, what is the value of this shark? I'm sure many of those you in the audience know exactly the value of this shark. I've read that it is about 2 million Australian dollars. So we have a choice. We could chop the fins of this shark and make soup of it. Or we could let people, tourists, locals, swim with the shark. And that is where the $2 million is stemming. We have a choice. And what about this one? This is a picture taken of salmon in Vesterålen in 2009. Salmon and trout. In 2014, the export value of this fish from Norway was 46.2 billion Norwegian crowns, increased 10% from last year, or the previous year. The net present value of this is 1,155 billion Norwegian crowns. I haven't even thought of adding on the historical growth, which is 7.4% over the last 20 years. This is a product, this is a species that is of immense value to the Norwegian society and is feeding many people all around the world. So the scope of the ocean economy, the way we see it, include these industries. And we have been focusing of the emerging industries: marine aquaculture, deep and ultra-deep water, and oil and gas. We are also discussing other elements, those which are established, for example, fisheries, but we are not putting the strong emphasis on this. So we had this expert workshop: ocean-based energy, offshore wind, offshore oil and gas extraction, marine aquaculture, seabed mining, marine biotechnology, marine safety, marine spatial planning, and ocean tourism. All these fields we have treated with special workshops. This is the book which was published less than a month ago, or pretty exactly a month ago. And it is, in my view, a very good read. It is not even 300 pages, so you read it in, if you are a quick reader, you read it in a day or maybe 2 days. The most important thing is to read chapter 1 and chapter 9. The main report, the principles: foresight, but not forecasting. And as the understanding that we have of this is that foresight is the ability to foresee and prepare wisely for the future, while forecasting is an estimation of a future condition or a value. We look at the global view, the big picture. We have a strong focus on the economics. We have incorporated, of course, the implication for the ocean environment. The work is holistic rather than sector-based. We put emphasis on the ocean-based industries as part of an interconnected ocean economy rather than a collection of different economic activities. The ocean economy, we conclude, has a huge potential, but there are competing claims on the oceans and how it is set to grow. There are strong competition for space in the oceans. There are increasing pressures on the resources in the coming year, and they are going to increase, we believe. That is giving rise to potential increase in tension among the users of the ocean. The existing ad hoc approaches in most parts of the world to management and regulation of the maritime activities are inadequate for meeting current and future challenges. We take as a starting point the marine ecosystems, and we look at the relationship to the ocean-based industries. And of course, that is creating what we call the ocean economy. There are certainly intermediate inputs from the ecosystem, and there might be impacts, of course, in some cases strong, sometimes weaker. And these are the simple part of the analytical model. We go much deeper into this, looking at flows of capital and state of capital, both in both systems, but I will not go into that. You will find it in this report again. So the industries that we have included in this report and in our OECD Ocean Economy Database so far are capture fisheries, marine aquaculture, seafood processing, shipbuilding, marine equipment, shipping, port activities, offshore oil and gas, and offshore wind energy, maritime and coastal tourism. We found that these industries generated in 2010 more than $1.5 trillion. The largest one are, as expected, oil and gas, 34%. Maritime and coastal tourism is also a very important oceanic industry, and the same is the maritime equipment industry. In 2030, the 1.5 trillion are more than doubled. What I find very interesting is that the sustainable future scenario, 1 out of 3 scenarios, leads to the highest value in 2030. Business as usual, slightly less, and the unsustainable scenario also is almost doubling its economic output in 2030 compared to 2010. But the interesting part is, I think, that the sustainable future scenario is the one that is leading. I also have to say these estimates are very conservative, and they are on a subset of the industrial activities in the oceans.
1 minute left, please.
Sorry?
2 minutes.
Okay. I go quickly through the conclusions of the scenario. The ocean economy makes a very significant contribution to the global economy. In reality, it is larger than the OECD estimates to due only to partial sectoral growth and conservative approach to the measurement. The majority of the ocean-based industry as a whole are expected to outpace global economic growth by a large margin. Employment is anticipated to grow faster, and the ocean economy would achieve even better if we had more industries in the database. We noted that there are very few incentives for enterprises to invest in some emerging technologies and industry because of the level of risk. There is very little incentives to exploit synergies among industries. There are lost opportunities to improve competitiveness on national maritime industry. And we have no idea what the economic loss of this is. What's needed? We need, in our societies, a multi-sectorial view and management of the maritime economy, not a set of individual, separate industries, but interdependent, complex ensemble of economic activities. We need coherent long-term strategies, and we need clearer regulation and meaningful allocation of rights. Recommendation: foster greater international cooperation, strengthen the integrated ocean management, improve the statistical and methodological base for national and international level measuring, scale and performance of the ocean-based industries. Build more capacity for ocean foresight. The output is this report that I mentioned. There is a number of workshop reports, and there are summaries in 22 languages on our homepage. Thank you very much for your attention.